Six rings, yeah. I got 6 O's, 6 O's, and I'm about to let these shits go. Hey, babe, where my flip phone?
2 phones like Gates, nigga. On the flip, making side deals. Lot of niggas got hate in them, pistol on the waist like a Scott tail. When you pay the fool, gotta keep your eyes peeled out there for a Calvin. Doing niggas like Alpo, hey, your ass leaking like an album. I see way too many weak niggas. Shouldn't be doing no flaws, and these boys kill you over pennies. I ain't talking about phone pauses, they'll pull up on you at Denny's. Long range with the dope shot, then pull off and forget it. Now it's slow songs in the close cough, and this gas no unleaded. I got blue cheese and blue dream, I got 16 for the 2-3. I got 6 rings like 2-3, that's a QP and a 2-piece. Got me 6 speeds and a new V, but I wanna rave like Deuce. So fucking pay me like Tucci. I'm fucking faded, I'm sued. Just counting paper, just cooling. I'm busting stank shit, moving that no kill ring, and I'm booming. Please don't say nothing too stupid, I don't wanna do nothing crazy. My guys get like Ghostbusters if a nigga get too swayzy. I got 6 rings, talking 6 O's. Moving zips on the flip phone. For 23, let the shit go. Count it up, nigga, we only got 6 rings, talking 6 O's. Moving zips on the flip phone. For 23, let the shit go. Count it up, nigga, we on.
I got 6 rings, 6 rings, yeah. My team doing big things, the big dreams, yeah. I got 6 O's, 6 O's, and I'm about to let these shits go. Hey, babe, where my flip phone?
Contact from the great weed. Used to sell an 8 for the KD. 11 rings like Bill Russell. 5 short from a 16. 5'6" with some big dreams. Thoughts laying in my mama bed. Red beam from the 9-1. Put a spot on you like Robin Head. Niggas talking down, nigga, we up. Defense for your re-up. Back it up, sending out of town, and the process might speed up. Got Prince Water, double seals on it. Boxed up Johnny Gill on it. Niggas double cupping, no spill on it. Leave a J. Cole like the Ville on me. Got the 40 on me like Sean Kemp. Another 40, that's Rod Sniff. FL told me not to talk if it ain't about money, that's nonsense. Used to move yay out of my crib to the guy hotter than an ad lib. I was dead broke, had to cut dope with some baking soda and some Advil. Nigga, 360, that's a bad deal. Nigga, selling soul for a gold chain and a drop top like some road gain and a crop top on the whole main. Nigga saying that my team flexing. Better meal, nigga, we not keep beefing over them keyboards. Get everyone on your screenshot.
I got 6 rings, talking 6 O's. Moving zips on the flip phone. For 23, let the shit go. Count it up, nigga, we only got 6 rings, talking 6 O's. Moving zips on the flip phone. For 23, let the shit go. Count it up, nigga, we on.
I got 6 rings, 6 rings, yeah. My team doing big things, the big dreams, yeah. I got 6 O's, 6 O's, and I'm about to let these shits go. Hey, babe, where my flip phone?
Disrespect me. Tell me I'm older. Tell me I'm slower. Tell me I can no longer fly.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Pretty nice day. Sun shining. It hasn't gotten cold yet like they said it was going to.
Right. I'm happy about that.
Would you please tell our listening and viewing audience who you are?
What's up, world? My name is FL, a.k.a. F. Lawless, and I represent an organization called Young Amsterdam.
What is Young Amsterdam?
Young Amsterdam, you know, from the outside looking in, I think people think it's like a group or a clique of some sort, but it's actually, I definitely consider it an organization.
Okay.
We're a music house. We have artist roster. We, including myself, we also have a studio, Young Amsterdam Studios.
Okay.
And we're a collective of like-minded individuals trying to create a pathway to the national stage, and more importantly, bring a lot of artists that normally wouldn't cross paths together.
Okay.
Through the way of the studio, Young Amsterdam Studios.
Okay. So do you take a role, a mentor role, a production role, besides being on the roster?
Indeed, I do. I wear a lot of hats, man.
Okay.
Everything that we do is grassroots. Everything is in-house. We shoot our videos. We create our own graphic design. We built and manage our own web page. The artists on the roster, definitely I step into a mentor position and just give them pieces of knowledge that I've gathered over the years doing stuff with a group that I've been a part of for almost 10 years now called The Food Chain. Okay. And, you know, just basically give them nuggets of information and educate them on certain ways that they should carry themselves throughout their path in the music business. Okay.
Now, is it open to anybody?
It's not open to anybody.
Okay.
However, our mentorship, our consultation is the artists on the roster would be myself, Ray Reed,
okay,
Flawless Money, Jit G, Bugs, and Cliff Gray. And all these guys are of different styles, even genres, I'd say. My guy Bugs is you know, a wordsmith and can really change paths with the way he does stuff. And these dudes are all different and all very special, and I consider them, you know, the guys on my roster, and I definitely hold them in a specific light, and try to mentor their path, you know, on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
But yeah, Young Amsterdam as an entity and as a consultation, you know, somewhere you can receive consultation and support, we're definitely open. You know, if you're an artist, and more importantly, if you're a serious artist about what you're doing with your craft, whether you're singing, you're producing, you're rapping, you're a part of a group, and you do all three of these things, you know, we want to be there to help them along their path and understand, you know, what it takes to progress to the next level.
So where is Young Amsterdam at?
So Young Amsterdam Studios, the headquarters is at 3000 South Jamaica Court in Aurora.
Okay.
We're in an office building on the 3rd floor, and that's pretty much where all the operations go down.
Okay. Well, that's a lot of information just right off the bat, but it's good because that was one of the questions I had. What is Young Amsterdam? Because I see that you are in cahoots with them, and so we've gotten that out of the way. So let's back this up a little bit. You come, or at least for about 10 years, you said you were with a group called the Food Chain?
Correct.
Okay, so tell me about that.
So the Food Chain consists of myself, Mike Coates, Oren Lomena, and Corey Austin of C1. And also a producer duo, Mo Heat and Mass Prod. And through these guys, we basically created, well, I guess what would be the best word for it? We created a community, or we created a, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Well, what I'll say is we created this movement, really when there wasn't one of its kind out here.
Okay.
We got on our promotion, and again started from a grassroots approach. That's really where I got all the I guess the tools that I use now for pushing Young Amsterdam through my experiences with Food Chain. We would burn 1,000 copies of our own CD ourselves. We would go buy stickers from a sticker company that were shaped the same size as the disc, and we'd buy inserts. We'd print our own inserts and buy plastic covers and put it all together ourselves, and then go hand the music out, 1,000 copies that same night. We'd go to Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, Durango, Boulder, everywhere,
Wow.
and just hand the music out and get people to just, you know, react to it. Like, you know, play it or don't. Like, we're still going to give it to you for free at a time where, you know, nobody was giving music out for free, and really at a time where people didn't want to pay for music
Sure.
either. And we really helped change the culture in that way. And the Food Chain really created a feel-good type of music or type of sound that later permeated through I think the hip-hop community at large around the time that we were really active between 2009 and 2012.
Okay.
And we created something I think of legend at this point. We had a collaboration with Talib Kweli on our first project. We've done music with Ras Kass and Raekwon as well. And, you know, this music has gotten mainstream recognition and notoriety. We've been in Double XL, Source Magazine, major blogs like Two Dope Boys and Now Right, as well as features on DJBooth.net. And that was happening at a time where that really wasn't going on in Denver. So I think that the Food Chain as a whole, in summation, is, for one, it gave me everything I learned now and put into use today, and we created something of legend with the things that we did in that period of time.
And were you guys friends? Were you all just common interest? How did it form in the very, very beginning?
That's actually a great question. So Mike Coates,
Okay.
who was the founding member of Food Chain, he put us all together. Had a bunch of great relationships with a bunch of different artists around the town, as well as producers. And so he had this idea for a mixtape called The Food Chain, Volume 1. And I had been working with Mike since I was about 16, 17 years old, and was working with Courtney Austin, call him Akil.
Mm-hmm.
And they were working out of a studio in Aurora. I was invited. I got to check out a project that they were producing for a guy named Measley. Shout out to Measley, by the way. And in I guess in passing, I was able to kind of formed this relationship with him based off of meeting, like we had the same barber. So I get invited, I get a song, I get a beat CD, do a couple songs, and we just kept in touch at that point. I'm actually now moving on to doing some other stuff I was doing called Ace Gang. It was when I was young, like maybe 18, 19 years old. And in the midst of that, Mike calls me up, tells me about the mixtape, and he wants to bring Oren and C1 Corey through my house so he can check out my music, I can check out theirs. So they come through, we vibe really well, mesh really well. Me and C1 actually do a song that day, and then the next day Oren does a song with me. And this stuff sounds really good. We're thinking about adding it to the tape. He gets in touch with Mass Prod, who was a producer of Food Chain. He was living in Atlanta at the time. Really dope producers, produced for some guys in the city like Midas. He did a whole bunch of stuff for Midas and his Gangrene Global group. But so he brings some Mass Prod production through. All three of us get on one of the records, and it just creates this like really good chemistry on the song. Like you can hear it. It's just like really, really special. And so special that Mass Prod decides to come in town to work and complete the mixtape with his production. So we work on this mixtape where we're putting it together, and then eventually, like once we got to the end of it, we realized like this is something a whole lot bigger than a mixtape. And so we decided to form a group.
Okay.
And call it The Food Chain. And the rest kind of happened on its own. We ended up getting 2009 Westward's best new hip hop group before we like really put anything out, and that was because Mike was like leaking stuff. So that made it official at that point. Like, okay, we're Food Chain. This is bigger than a mixtape. We put it out as an EP, and then it just blew up like crazy, man. Like
Okay.
a whole lot of people gravitated to it, and we started really making a name for ourselves. And like it seemed like kind of happenstance, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was really dope.
Okay. And so you said now what's going on with the Food Chain right now then?
The Food Chain is still active. Like everybody that is in Food Chain is still doing music. We're just kind of doing it in on our individual stuff. You know what I mean? We were a group for so long. We did so much stuff together. I think we all wanted to be able to branch out and just become individual artists and show people what we can do. We actually did reunite recently for a show for A-Meezy. A-Meezy released his project, the Real Ned Flanders too, and we got together and performed there and killed it. And
Where was that at?
that was at the Bluebird on Colfax. It was a really dope event, sold out. Then that's like really dope to see a local person, a local guy come out and sell out a major venue in town. That was special.
Okay. And you're actually playing there tomorrow, aren't you? Is that what I saw?
Not tomorrow.
So, wait, no, I saw an old post. Wait,
Yeah.
I put it. Okay, I've got it.
It was probably the movie show. We did the movie. So, Bugs and Sean Asakura with Queen City Hip Hop.
Okay.
We basically formed and created this show called A Movie, and we had duo performances. It was myself and AP, Ray Reed and Bugs, Showtime BMG show, and Young Filthy and Doobie Newton and Tripper Jones, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, really dope show. Killed it then as well, and I think there's some footage out there of it.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
So if you're out there on your own a lot more these days, what are you up to? And actually, let me tell you what I see. I see you as a serious person, putting out a lot of, whether it's mixtapes or videos or songs or helping somebody, bringing somebody up or traveling or touring. It seems like you're really, really busy all the time.
I am.
And I wonder when you sleep sometimes.
I sleep very little. My lady here could definitely tell you, like she's with me on this wild race right now, and we rarely get a lot of sleep. We're either at the studio or we're at a venue or we're supporting one of our artists or working on something with our artist. I'm always on the go. These days, I haven't done a whole lot of music recently because I've been focusing on my brand, the Young Amsterdam brand, and just making sure that everything that we do is on time, and it makes sense.
Mhm.
And pushing everybody. You know, Ray Reed released his project Cuffin' Season to much acclaim. He's got some really dope records on there. Stuff's been in the clubs, and he's been killing shows all year. So it was really focused on him and his success, and as well as Flawless Money. We released our artist Flawless Money's project. I want to say 2 months ago now, called Level Up. Also a really, really solid body of work, and we put a lot of effort into the composition and the arrangement, and then ultimately getting it out there for the people as well. And now we're prepping for our artist Jit G's release. It's
Okay.
called the Black Market Mixtape. It's going to be released on October 24th. So lot of blood, sweat, and tears into these projects, man, and that's where we're at right now with it, focusing on just getting all the content together and making sure that the presentation is perfect, because this is his debut really into the music community in Denver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the music community in Denver, what's your thoughts? What's your feelings? Are you supported? I feel like there's a lot we can talk about.
Mhm.
So you start telling me, do you have the support you need? You know, how is race in this city? Is that helping? Is it
Yeah.
hurting?
You know, I thought that's a pretty mixed bag.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
I would say I definitely, and as a collective and an individual, get a lot of support. But there's definitely room for a lot more support. Right now, I feel like since I've been in this hip hop thing in Denver for so long, I've seen it transform from something that a lot of people locally that aren't musicians or artists themselves, they didn't gravitate to it. They didn't want to hear anybody's music. They definitely didn't want to buy it, and just generally didn't care for, you know, quote unquote Denver hip hop. I watched that transform into to actually seeing people support it during my run, you know, between 2009 and 12, and that was something I think a whole lot of people seen community wide, hip hop community wide. A lot of people started showing up for local stuff. They were starting to buy music and buy merchandise, and just support the artist and his passion, because this craft isn't free by any means. So a lot of that will go right back into into the music. But now I'm seeing Denver get a lot of mainstream and national spotlight. You know, Trev Rich just got signed to Cash Money, so that's never happened as far as like a major label, you know, reaching out and actually, you know, putting their stamp on somebody from Denver, Colorado. You know, Food Chain did actually have a situation with Show Off Records as like a major independent, but not nearly as big as something like Cash Money.
Okay.
So I see the scene now transforming again. And a whole lot more people locally are gravitating to the music. They're, you know, actually listening to the stuff that we're putting out and showing others, you know, putting other people onto what we're doing here. And I think that the way that it can be supported is, you know, the music has to now, you know, see more people. It has to be on a bigger stage in Denver. You know, we don't have a local terrestrial FM radio station that plays local hip hop.
Oh, okay.
So that's a disadvantage right there, as far as, you know, giving artists that platform to be heard by the greater Denver community, not just the music community. And so I think that would be something that would again help transform the scene once more. That type of support from the tastemakers and the powers that be is what we need now, because the fans are there and they want music, but they don't have a way to discover it. You know what I mean? Okay. So I think that's a pivotal piece in the growth of the Denver music scene, having a platform or a station, a radio station that, you know, is well known statewide, that actually plays and rocks with the artists. You know what I mean? For the most part, a lot of the artists are doing this on their own, coming out of their own pocket to either pay for a venue to throw a show,
right,
or get on a radio station, like an online radio station, or go somewhere else and get on their radio station. We don't have a hub for that here. I think that would be really, really beneficial.
And how does, so a Trev Rich signing with the Cash Money, how does that affect the local scene? And is that something where, you know, would he stay here in this town and make the music here in this town and just be supported by Cash Money, or how does that work?
You know, I think that's a great question. I think it can go both ways, to be honest with you. So long as the music is reaching the national spotlight. You know what I mean? I feel like he can. It positively affects the city for one to start with, because now it gives us more eyes. You know, Broncos won the Super Bowl. That was a great national thing where a lot of eyes were put on Denver, Colorado. Now, you know, Trev Rich getting signed. When some music comes out and it's in the national spotlight, say it's on the radio around the country, and it's, you know, his videos are spun on MTV, VH1, BET, all that, then we'll really see what kind of impact his presence in the mainstream will have on Denver as a whole. I really think it's going to be a positive thing, a super positive thing. It's going to shed more light on the rest of the city. And then I think that right now, you know, that's something special for him and for what his path is now. So he has the chance to really put Denver on, and that's not no pressure on him. I don't want nothing like that. But I think that, you know, what he does with this is going to be beneficial for the entire city. For sure. And what was the other thing I was saying?
It was a whole bunch, and you were talking about a lot of good stuff. I wanted to ask you about. Well, go ahead if you can remember.
I can't remember.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you about race. Yeah. How are you feeling these days about race in this city?
Race, you know, that's a tough question right there. I definitely say from speaking or knowing about certain things going on in the city, race, music-wise, in the urban community, definitely plays a role in you know, the support that we have and the ability to reach people. Some of these venues will not cater to hip hop for, you know, obvious reasons. I think, you know, with the potential of shootings or, you know, fights breaking out,
whatever their fear may be.
Yeah, and that's, you know, for the most part, that's not true. You know, these there's plenty of peaceful happenings in the music community, especially in the hip hop scene. I've been to almost all the things that are going on in this city, and, you know, they're all peaceful. Everybody's, you know, showing a lot of love to one another. There's not a whole lot of beef in the Denver rap scene, Denver music scene, so it never comes down to something like that. But it definitely does make it difficult. You know what I mean? Those fears that these powers that be have, you know, they'll prevent us from being able to book a venue of a certain size, and thus affecting, you know, your ability to reach the people and effectively, you know, perform your craft. You know what I mean? So I'd say that the music scene for, you know, maybe rock music or for jazz or something like that, it's thriving, especially in the rock. You know, where there's been a lot of, I want to say a lot, but there's been a few national acts that have been, you know, born out of Colorado.
Well, there sure are, and I feel like I've seen that because I've been here since the early 2000s, and sometimes I feel like a disconnect a little bit, right? Because I'll see some rock acts that get, you know, put up to that next level and that next level, and I've always kind of wondered, when it comes to, say, the urban acts or, you know, the hip hop acts, why I don't see the same, you know, and I really have always, it's just been in the back of my mind.
Yeah, for sure.
But I've seen that.
You know, some of these venues that, you know, that are out there, they not necessarily cater to them, but they're definitely more peaceful, and they'll allow for them to throw more events there, or, you know, they'll put promotion into those particular things because they see it being successful and they want it to be. Whereas there's a lot of uncertainty in the hip hop community. You know, they're not confident that, for one, they're going to even bring out enough people to fill out the house, and then two, they're really worried about what could happen. You know, what potentially violent situation or scenario could arise, which, you know, 9 times out of 10, nothing's going to happen.
Right. Just fear.
Yeah, just fear.
Well, that's some serious talk. Who are you inspired by? Who were you listening to growing up?
Musically, man, my uncle tells this story all the time. I was about 9-10 years old, and he was playing like Tupac in his car, and Biggie and Ice Cube and all this stuff. And I'm sitting in the car one day, and the new Tupac album comes out, and he's like, "Yeah."
Which one? All Eyes on Me? Where you at?
All Eyes on Me. I think it was Me Against the World.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, you know, he's putting this music on. We're sitting in the car, and he's like, "Yeah, man, that's that new Tupac. Do you like it?" And I'm like, "I don't really like it. Can you put on some jazz?"
Really?
Yeah. So like my musical inspiration, man, it's all over the board. When I was a kid, about that time when I told him I'd rather listen to jazz, I was living with my grandma and she had this 5-disc CD changer and a CD rack full of music. So I put in every single CD in there, and it was predominantly jazz because my grandfather loves jazz. So that's where that comes from. And then later on, 10, 11, maybe the next year, I did fall in love with music, with hip-hop. And some of my two, I think, biggest inspirations at the time were definitely Raekwon and Talib Kweli. Raekwon first. The Mobilarity album came out when I was in 7th or 8th grade. And that, Lauryn Hill's Miseducation Lauryn Hill, and Black Sheep's album, they all came out around the same time, and my best friend bought them for me for my birthday. So that was my first, I guess, first time being thrown into the hip hop world.
Okay.
So I listen to this stuff nonstop, every day. Go to sleep to it, wake up to it, listen to it on the bus to school and on the way home, and really got enthralled with it. And then later on, I say in high school, my freshman year or so, Moment of Clarity, I think it's called, Talib Kweli's album.
Okay.
I loved it. It was super dope. Very, very different, and made me look at things differently. So I think those were my two main hip hop inspirations, aside from your greats like Tupac and Biggie, of course, and jazz.
And so, was that a dream come true then, being able to work with Talib Kweli?
Absolutely, man. The whole way it came about was just crazy.
Yeah.
We did a show. We had 2 shows on the same day. We had a show with Zion I at Cervantes on the east side of Denver, and then we had a show in Fort Collins with Talib Kweli at the Aggie Theater. So we're psyched about it. This was one of our first openings as Food Chain, especially a national opener. So we knock out the show with Zion I, kill it early, 9, 10 o'clock in the evening, and then we hauled ass, excuse my French, up to Fort Collins, and we walked through the crowd to the stage with all our equipment, with our DJ tables, with our drum set, because we did a live band thing, with everything. And so we set up and then killed it. We rocked the show. So crazy that Talib actually came out from the green room and was standing next to our manager and watched the whole show. So killed it. We go back to the green room. He comes downstairs and shakes everybody's hand, daps everybody up. And at the time, we didn't have any management or anything like that. And who later became our manager was actually a booking agent, and he was his handler for the time that Talib was in town. And so exchanged numbers, communicated with these guys for a while, and then as Food Chain started to gain its buzz and gain traction, that booking agent became our manager, and then we basically asked him yo, can you reach out to Talib? I know he remembers us because we put on that show. And long story short, he was in Europe on tour, did the verse for free for the love, because he appreciated what we were doing, and the rest is history, man. That was a blessing, man. Definitely, I never expected that to happen. Let alone us doing a show with him, and then him interacting with us personally. All that's unforeseen, but definitely the icing on the cake was the collaboration.
Wow. Speaking of touring, have you been to Europe?
I have not been to Europe. I was actually slated to go to Europe last year, and then I had a friend pass. So that kind of put a wrench in the plans. But I definitely do intend on getting out there to Europe and doing something. I've had a couple opportunities come my way. I'm just looking for the right one.
Okay. And what about here domestically? Is there a hot spot? Is there a place where you feel like you get more love than not, or?
I wouldn't say it's a place, but yeah, I've definitely, we've toured nationally here, as well as in-state touring as well. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily a location. I think the dopest show out of town that we did was at Brooklyn Bowl with Talib, actually. It was amazing. Brooklyn Bowl is a dope setup for one. It's like a bar / nightclub / bowling alley / event venue. So you have a bar in the back with they serve food and drinks, and then you have this bowling alley, it's I don't know, 20 lanes, and they're all right next to each other. And then on the other side of the bowling alley is a concert stage, Ogden size.
Okay.
And so that was the dopest show that I've done, like, out of town. That was really fresh. And we've done a lot out of town for sure. But I'd say the crowd, what makes a crowd really rock, or what I've seen, is the age groups. I think that the youth, they, if they're into your music, they go crazy and they show a ton of support. You know what I mean? Sometimes I see in my era, some people my age, that they're enjoying the music, but they're definitely not as active.
Sure. I can understand that, pushing 40 now.
For sure. So I'd say that the youngins, man, they show a lot of love. They show out, and that definitely gives you that inspiring energy on stage.
Very cool. I guess I'd like to just know what is your inspiration when it comes to, like, writing songs, and when you got to get into that mode, where do you go mentally?
Man, that's a really tough question. I honestly don't know where I go mentally. In songs like subject matter and stuff like that, it really comes from the heart. I don't really think about that part too much. What I think about more so is, like, how I'm going to put it, as far as, like, where the inspiration comes from. It's a feeling more so than anything else, and then I basically am trying to find the best way to project my feelings on this song. So I guess that's kind of the way I think about writing. But to get into my zone, usually I sit in the studio, I listen to a ton of beats, and then whatever one strikes my emotions, strikes the right chord in my emotions, pertaining to what I already had on my mind, that's the one I go with. I let the music kind of speak to me more so than trying to force a song onto an instrumental. I'm very particular about my production. It has to be, I want to say top notch, but it has to be something that I really enjoy, and it has to sound really dope too. Like, it has to be pretty, I don't know, I want to say complex, and then mixed really well. Like, it has to sound good even before I jump on that thing. So.
And do you play something? Are you a musician?
I am personally not a musician. When I was younger, I played the drums and I played the saxophone.
Okay.
But I don't do it anymore.
Okay.
I play the vocal cords, and I'm also an engineer. You know what I'm saying? In the studio. So.
Self-taught?
Yeah.
Okay.
Self-taught. I did have. I can't say completely self-taught. There was a guy named Tyler Soifer, who worked with Side 3, that kind of showed me the basics in the very beginning, which I'm forever thankful for, because there's a lot that goes into the basics and the fundamentals of it. And then once you have that part down, you can kind of find your own way and your own sound through tweaking knobs over a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, self-taught for sure. Been doing it since I started making music. When I first started, when I was 11, 12 years old, I had a program called Cool Edit, and it later became Adobe Audition, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It morphed into that?
Yeah, that was that's the predecessor. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Cool Edit was not owned by Adobe yet at that time, but that was like the digital audio workstation of its time that I really liked.
Oh, okay.
So around that time, it was like Cakewalk and Acid were the primary ones, and I started messing with Cool Edit. And surprisingly for me, the jump from Cool Edit to Pro Tools wasn't that difficult, because they're kind of similar in the way that the interface is. So I was used to dealing with waveforms already by the time I started working on Pro Tools at about 18 years old. And then since then, man, I'm 30 now. So it's been about, 12 years I've been behind those boards.
And who gave you your hustle? Where'd you learn to grind like you do?
Just from wanting it so bad, man. Wanting it really, really bad. I never had a music mentor. I kind of just picked it up on my own. I spent a lot of summers in my mom's room, because she had a computer. We didn't have like this family room. I grew up in a two-bedroom apartment, so we didn't have like a space to put the computer like in the living room or nothing like that. So she had it in her room. So summers when she was at work, I'd be at the house, listening to a million beats and writing these rhymes down and just putting it together, man. So the motivation for it really just comes from wanting to succeed in it really bad. I put so much time into it, so much, and so I can't let that go to waste. Not with all the time I've spent doing it.
Well, it's very apparent. It's very apparent to me. I see how hard you work.
Thank
and I commend you for it. And that's one reason why I wanted you to come in here and talk about things, and because I believe people can learn a lot from you, and just watching how you make moves. And I've actually talked to people that do keep their eyes on you to just see where's he going to go next, because I'm going to follow that. I've actually overheard that conversation. And so I just want to say, man, thanks for coming in, kind of talking to me. I was curious, just like I imagine a lot of people are. But I want you, go ahead. You got some shows coming up. You got,
yeah. So,
let us know.
So, I personally have some music coming soon. I don't have a release date right now, but it's definitely to be announced. It's called Fat Jordan, so be looking for that. 6 Rings with me and Ray is on there, so you can go to SoundCloud.com/YoungAmsterdam and find 6 Rings there, as well as other music from the guys in the camp. But the next, very, very next thing that's coming up is my man Ray Reed. He's dropping the Uberman mixtape with DJ Bands. It's an exclusive release on my mixtapes, and then we're doing a release party for him. Basically at an event venue that's to be announced soon, and we're gonna make it a benefit for my man Goody. Rest in peace to him, and it's basically just support for his family and show love to the king that we lost recently. And then other than that, man, my guy Jit G, October 24th, Black Market mixtape coming soon. So we already have a ton of songs. The production is immaculate. The rhymes are super dope, and conceptually he knows exactly what he's doing, and I think it's going to be a great debut for him. So I'm excited for all these releases from my guys, and then more stuff coming soon. We recently announced that we got a distribution deal through MLIT Worldwide, and we're going to start really rolling out a whole bunch of music for the next quarter and for 2017 and beyond. So just be looking for a lot of stuff from us.
Well, now, you bring up something else, and just in case people are wondering, how does a distribution deal work? How does that benefit you? How does that work?
Distribution works for us because it helps us get our music onto national platforms that people discover music on every day. So we'll be, essentially on the same digital shelf as Kendrick Lamar or a Jay-Z or somebody that you hear on the radio or look for music from. So we'll be on iTunes, we'll be on Google Play, we'll be on Amazon, we'll be on CD Baby, we'll be on Tidal, we'll be on Spotify, we'll be everywhere that you can find good music. So that's the big thing. That's really how distribution works, getting us on all the same platforms as your favorite artists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you need to get out there?
Yeah, man. Shout out to my lady, Britt Marshall. She's super dope, very pivotal in making things move here at Young Amsterdam right now. She does a lot of management of the artists, and she also helps coordinate and manage the studio, book slots, and make sure everybody's comfortable in that situation. So I just want to thank her. She does a whole lot.
Right on.
Shout out to her.
Well, I really appreciate you coming down.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
Talking about things and bringing some clarity.
For
you
sure.
know, and that's what I'm in search of. That's why I need to talk to people and find out how they do what they do.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things that I'm most curious about in this life. You see people and you just kind of wonder, man.
Hey, we need people like you, man. Like I said before, there's not a whole lot of outlets for us to get our music out, or to be talked to just like this in an interview. A lot of these people have never heard me speak outside of my music or talking to me in person. So we need people like you, man. Thank you for having me.
Hey.
And I like what you're doing here.
I appreciate it, and I was trying to do it all smooth, but it wasn't happening. But I'm pulling up one last track to play us out.
Cool.
And once again, I really appreciate you coming. And this will just be a Young Amsterdam track, I realize.
All good.
But
yeah, man. Shout out Flawless Money. Stick to the code. Level Up's out right now.
thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming by.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you having me.
When it was real, I was in the field, really in the field, but this is not a game, this is how we live. Aim to kill, see y'all shoot in the air, shoot because you're scared, shoot the fade, man, I cannot relate. Watch me levitate, meditate, lean and sip and drink, for shit ease the pain, for my side of town still hold it down, my youngins do the same. Used to think, if I rob a bank, I'd probably get away. If they hate, never to my face, I'm busy running plays, running the game. Lay down, set, hut, height. Yeah, I just read up with my plug twice. Cake right, came from grinding on a late night. Hand grip tight on the pipe, bet they act right. If he shooting, bet he can't fight. Hard knock light, tattoos and a bandana don't mean he going right. Stay on that side, real niggas on this side. In this life, I done seen niggas switch sides. Speed high, we high, bustin' peas down. What you need now? Gotta eat, chasing cheese down. Now she won't let me see him like maybe on the weekend, don't have him around no bitches. I'm like, why she always tripping? Everything is my fault. I was trying to break the cycle. I ain't have my daddy either. I guess that's just how life goes. Smoke to ease the pain all day. It's the only way. Trying to make waves in my own lane. No break. Taking up space. Bet this cake. Get him out the way. I was in the yard early. Early bird get the cash. Put the money in the stash. Bond money if it's bad. I ain't used to this. It's all new to me. Can't believe they shoot then tell who they shooting with. Ludicrous, move your mama out the hood. That's what I call moving bricks. Y'all just let them in, not again. I can't ride with them. Speak on what I know. Seen it all before, don't trust the soul. If you do me wrong, put it on my soul. Adios, boy, you gotta go. Started in a hole, now I'm on my own. Please don't call my phone, I am in my zone. Leave me alone, what you smoking on? Candy Kush, nigga get your own. This is personal, I just wanna smoke Kush cologne, and I'm already high. Finna smoke some more, smoking dro. Either way it goes.